Hey guys. Well, last night on that stream, of course, the topic of using like exotic pets to get foids came up, which I would agree is like a valid strategy, but like a mention of like pigs came up, you know, and how like certain cultures don't eat them and all that. And I got to thinking, and obviously, me being the ubermensch pinnacle of man genius that I am. I or a revelation that the gods gave me last night in my sleep. I don't know. It popped in my head when I woke up this morning, but I want to talk about the pig question, the pig pill. I'm not sure what I'm going to title this video yet. It's either the pig question or the pig pill. But I want to make the case that the pig is actually in the category of a more aristocratic or noble creature. In that, okay, to preface this, all right, so you have like the Semitic peoples, like the Bagels and the Mohammedans. Obviously, pork is forbidden for them in both their religious tradition and also their culture. And then in other cultures too, like the peoples of the Pooh Land subcontinent. They're very fond of cattle, but pork isn't forbidden there, but is greatly looked down upon. So generally, they don't eat it. Most parts of sub-Saharan Wakanda, the Meccans, that live there, they aren't very fond of it either. And the excuses they use for why they have such disdain for the pig is things like parasites, which that just tells me it's like, okay, well, you just haven't like specced into like fire and cooking on your tech tree or something. And then just like uncleanliness. Now, if you hear a poo person from the subcontinent of India tell you that, it's like, okay, who's dirtier, like you or the pig dude? Come on. But you realize that it's actually a dishonest answer they're giving you when they bring up either like parasites or they're just unclean, dirty creatures. And well, there's cold gentlemen this year who do raw meat max that I know, and they've never gotten sick from a raw pork meat. Not that I advocate that, but they haven't gotten sick from it. But these other peoples, whenever they have a disdain or hatred for something, it's always from a place of inferiority. They hate what true like nobility or aristocratic natures are. It's kind of like the same reason they hate or have a disdain towards people of European descent. It's not because like we're dirty or we're like a nuisance, whatever. It's because we're frankly just higher order than they are. And they put that upon the pig, in that the pig is an aristocratic animal like a cat. Now, something like a cat, uh, they're aristocratic in an Apollonian way. The pig is as aristocratic in the Dionysian side of this, in that the pig exercises in the Dionysian noble aspect of Aryan culture, in that, first off, A, they're intelligent. Two, they're in a constant state of leisure, and they are in this continuous like festival of some sort of feast in the way their diet is. And also too, when they come up to some sort of threat, they basically act like a berserker, really. It's very Aryan in the way the pig's nature is. And even then, if you look at a pig, it just looks like a white person's animal, you know? Now, of course, we eat them, so we're like above the pig, of course, if you're an Aryan. But the pig, like a cat or a horse, is above these um, other hominids, let's say. The only other group that seems to realize the nobility of the swine is really like some of the Asiatic cultures. Even then, like the Asiatic um, nature is differing from the Aryan aspect, but they're frankly the closest to us. And you can go into the Latinx as well, but Latinx are kind of like Indians in that their whole thing is like separate from the other groups since they're the result of mass miscegenation. So, and I've already addressed the Latinx question, so I don't really need to speak on their attitudes toward the swine. Unless you're Argentinian, then I guess, I don't know, it's up in the air if Argentinians are white or not. That's a different video on the Argentinian question. But these cultures that disdain the pig, you realize that they wind up actually upholding and lifting things such as primarily cattle and goats, primarily. And that really does show their spiritual inclination in that obviously, like a bull represents like Baal and Moloch, so uh, sec- extreme sexual degeneracy. That's like the Baal aspect of it. And then also too, things like child sacrifice or human sacrifice in general, which would be the most more Molochian aspect of this. And then with the goat, it's more Baphometic, which goes to like the rejection of not only humanity but nature unto itself, since there are beings that are constantly at odds in destroying this realm that we exist in as a group. So, them venerating and holding those two types of animals up shows they are more Saturnic as well. While in European history, the Celts, the Germanics, we go like chase pigs through the woods and stuff because that's cool and that's fun, dude. Or, like same thing in Iberia. There's a lot of stuff with like the boar, or hogs and Joe. All throughout European history, like the pig has the only time cattle really mentioned in European history or like held up in some way was more just like in steppe tribes. And even then, it was different from like the more Semitic aspect of cattle veneration, you could call it. It's more like, hey, this is like what we eat. But yeah, I think that's all I really got to say, guys, on the pig question. Pigs are noble and are more European coded. And these cultures that despise them demonstrate they are of a more saturnic nature, especially through their massive uplifting of goats and cattle. Anyways, guys, I think that's all I really had to say. Um, keep on eating like your sausage, your bacon, your tenderloins, you know, pork chop, ribs, whatever, pulled pork sandwich. Keep on doing that, guys. Be nice to the pigs, and just know that you being a pork eater or pork enjoyer, and no, not the brat hogs, just the animal, means you are truly more aristocratic than these other races. Anyways, guys, y'all take it easy.